started with a missing name and a list. I had spent weeks planning the perfect European getaway for my mom's 60th birthday. It was her dream trip: France, Italy, a wine-tasting tour in Tuscany, and a sunset cruise in Santorini. I booked everything: flights, hotels, private tour guides. I even arranged for her favorite champagne to be waiting in her room when she arrived in Paris. But as I stood at the airport, passport in hand, ready to board the flight I had personally booked, I noticed something odd, and the travel agent was flipping through a printed itinerary. My name wasn't on it. "Are you sure?" I asked, trying not to sound panicked. "Savannah Wright. I should be listed under family." The agent blinked. "Sorry, you're not part of this reservation." I felt a strange chill run through my spine. I called my mom immediately. Her voice was calm. Too calm. "Oh, honey, I meant to tell you," she said. "Callum thought it might be better if it was just us adults. You've been so busy with work anyway. I didn't want to burden you." "Burden?" I had funded this entire thing. She added, "Besides, it's a chance for me to bond with Callum and Vivian. You know how they've become such a big part of my life." That was it. No apology, no concern, no shame. At that moment, something cracked inside me. Not like a loud break, but a quiet, clean snap. The kind that comes when you realize the people you've poured everything into would never do the same for you. The woman who had raised me just disinvited me from her own birthday trip, one that I planned, paid for, and poured my heart into. And all because Callum, her smug boyfriend of 2 years, and Vivian, her new age life coach friend, decided I didn't vibe with the group. I stood there in the airport terminal, staring at the boarding gate, watching as the group I'd built this dream for laughed and wheeled their carry-ons past security, without me. And I made a decision right then. If I was being erased from the picture, I'd erase my support too. I used to think I was overreacting. That maybe I was just being too sensitive, too controlling, too much for my own good. But the truth? I was slowly being erased from my own family without even realizing it. It hit me like a punch to the gut the moment I saw the Europe tour itinerary on the kitchen counter. My name, Savannah, wasn't on it. But I recognized every destination, every booking detail. Why? Because I was the one who had planned the whole thing. For months I'd been coordinating the hotels, the restaurants, the flights, and all for my mom, Loretta. It was supposed to be a retirement gift, a celebration of her life's work, her resilience after the divorce. I wanted it to be perfect. And yet, I was never part of the plan. At first I tried to rationalize it. Maybe they forgot to include me by mistake. Maybe the travel agent messed up. But when I confronted Mom, she didn't even flinch. "Honey, I just thought you had too much going on. Besides, it's mostly just me, Callum, and Vivian. You'd be bored." Bored. With the trip I had curated from scratch, the trip I had poured hours into. Callum, Mom's boyfriend, had never liked me. He thought I was too bossy and always rolled his eyes when I reminded Mom about her doctor's appointments or helped her with her bills. He once told me I was suffocating her with daughter guilt. I laughed it off at the time, but it wasn't funny now. And then there was Vivian. Vivian had been Mom's best friend for the last 2 years. Some spiritual self-help guru with crystals, chakra charts, and endless commentary on toxic energy. Ever since she entered Mom's life, I noticed things changing. Mom began repeating phrases like "Savannah drains the room," or "your energy is too heavy." At first I thought it was a joke, but slowly those words became the reason I wasn't invited to family dinners anymore, the reason my birthday was forgotten last year, the reason I wasn't included on that trip. It was like watching your own reflection disappear from a mirror. Growing up, I was an overachiever. I managed everything after my parents' divorce. I cooked meals. I paid the bills when Mom was too overwhelmed. I stayed behind on weekends while my friends went out, just to make sure she was okay. I loved her so much I sacrificed every piece of my youth for her. But none of that mattered, because apparently what she wanted now was peace, and peace in her eyes meant life without me. They didn't scream or insult me. They didn't cut ties with a loud slam of the door. They just quietly rewrote the family photo, removing me from the center until I didn't even make the frame. And the worst part? I almost believed them. I almost believed that I was the problem, that I was too much, too controlling, too unlovable. But that's when it hit me. I was never too much. I was just the only one who ever held things together, the one who cared too deeply, the one who loved without conditions, even when it wasn't returned. And now, I was done begging to belong. When I found out I'd been removed from the Europe trip, The trip I had fully planned, funded, and organized. I didn't cry. I didn't confront anyone. I didn't even call my mother. I just stared at my phone, the group message lighting up with excited emojis and chatter about packing tips. And I wasn't even included. No one had even thought to tell me I wasn't going. That silence told me everything. So I got up, walked to my desk, opened my laptop, and logged into every single booking account I had used. Flights canceled, hotels gone, winery tours in Bordeaux, art museums in Florence, the spa day in Santorini, all gone with a few clicks. Every itinerary, every experience, every confirmation, under my name. They wanted space, I muttered, so I gave them an empty itinerary. I didn't send a message. I didn't warn them. I just vanished. For years, I'd been the one who quietly held the family together. I remembered late nights building PowerPoints for Mom's work presentations when I was 15, coordinating her meds when she had surgery, remembering everyone's birthdays, buying gifts, baking cakes, and getting a half-hearted, "Oh, thanks you didn't have to," every time. But this trip, this was supposed to be the thing that changed everything. I had worked 3 freelance jobs for almost a year to fund it. I thought maybe, just maybe, this would be the moment my mom looked at me and saw someone worth celebrating. Turns out she only had room for Callum and Vivian in her new life. Callum, her soulmate, who once told her I was too intense and probably needed therapy. Vivian, the spiritual healer who convinced her I was clinging to generational guilt and holding back her energy. And Mom, she just nodded along, letting them push me out of the picture one passive-aggressive comment at a time, and I let them, until now. It was a strange sense of calm watching the itinerary fall apart, not because I was being petty, but because it was the first time I was choosing myself over pleasing them. A few days later, I got a call from a panicked hotel concierge in Rome. "Hi, Miss Ray. We have a group of guests here, Ms. Loretta Jacobs and her companions, but we have no reservation under their name. Did you perhaps cancel the booking?" I smiled. "Yes, I did." "Oh, would you like us to rebook?" "No," I cut in. "Let them figure it out." Click. It wasn't revenge. It was closure. Then the text started pouring in. "Mom, Savannah, the flights aren't working. Did something happen?" "Mom, why are the hotel bookings gone? Callum is furious. Can you explain?" "Mom, you're being childish. I need you to fix this." I stared at those words. "I need you to fix this," and felt something inside me finally snap free. That was the story of my life. Always being the fixer. The filler. The background daughter who made the chaos less chaotic. The dependable one, the invisible one. Not anymore. That night I poured myself a glass of wine and watched an old home video. One of the few I had. It was my 8th birthday. I was smiling, holding a cake I had baked myself. In the background, Mom was laughing with her friends, barely glancing at me. Even then, I was trying to earn her attention. I turned it off halfway through. The next morning, I woke up to a voicemail from Vivian. "Savannah, this isn't healthy. You're operating from a place of scarcity and bitterness. Your mother is trying to grow. Don't sabotage that." I laughed out loud. That woman really believed her own crap, but it wasn't bitterness. It was boundaries. That same afternoon, I wrote a letter, not to Mom, to myself. "Dear Savannah, you are not invisible. You were never the problem. You were the anchor, the light, the one who stayed. You don't need their permission to be valuable. You already are." It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, empowering, mine. And for once in my life, I didn't feel like the one left behind. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't even text my mom back. Instead, I opened my laptop, logged into the travel accounts, and started canceling everything. The flights? Gone. The private tour guide I booked across 5 countries? Canceled. The boutique hotels. The non-refundable deposits. The chartered van in Tuscany. Every last detail gone with a click. They wanted space. I gave them an empty itinerary. I didn't leave a warning or a dramatic message. No final monologue. Just silence. I logged out of everything and let the consequences roll in naturally. By morning, my phone lit up with chaos, missed calls, group texts. My mom's messages started polite, then quickly turned confused. "Sweetie, did the tour agency send a glitch? I can't find our flight details." Then, "Savannah, why is the hotel saying they've refunded our reservation?" And finally, "Did you do something?" I replied with just one sentence. "I honored your request, staying out of the way." The calls stopped after that. The silence was louder than before, but for the first time it didn't hurt. Instead, I felt calm. That same day, I walked to a nearby cafe, ordered a cappuccino, and let myself breathe. No more being the background planner, the invisible daughter, the emotional punching bag. No more overcompensating for a mother who only saw value in what I could do for her. And the best part? They had no clue how deep my plans went. Over the past 2 years, I'd been quietly managing several of my mother's subscriptions and loyalty programs, simply because she asked and never bothered to learn how. That included the travel's concierge service, the international SIM card pre-orders, even the insurance policy for the trip. All of it? In my name. All of it? Now gone. Callum tried to call me 2 days later. I let it ring out. The next voicemail from my mom was quieter than usual. "We're at the airport. We can't board. Nothing's working. What's happening?" I let her sit in the confusion for a while. Then I responded with what I knew would sting more than any curse word. "This is what it feels like to be erased." A few days passed. No one said a word, until I received a call from Aunt Brenda, my mom's older sister. She didn't ask why. I think she already knew. She just said, "Your mom's beside herself." She keeps saying it was all a misunderstanding. I laughed softly. Funny how clarity comes after the perks disappear. Later that week, I prepared one last act. I sent my mom a single envelope, neatly sealed. No drama, no mess. Inside was a letter and 3 pieces of truth. First, I included copies of receipts showing Callum had used her credit card without permission. Fancy meals, boutique items, even a questionable payment to a consultant in Morocco. Next, a printed record showing Vivian had registered a failing crystal healing business under my mother's name, without telling her. And finally, my letter. I didn't yell in it. I didn't guilt trip. I just thanked her. "Thank you for showing me that not everyone who shares your blood deserves your loyalty. Thank you for teaching me that silence can be betrayal. Thank you for making me strong enough to finally walk away." I told her she could keep Callum and Vivian, that I hoped the trip she dreamed of was worth the daughter she forgot she had, that I no longer needed her approval to feel like I mattered. Aunt Brenda called me the next day. "Your mom's devastated," she said. "She'll survive," I replied, "but she says you blindsided her." "No," I corrected. "I simply stopped cushioning her fall. For once I wasn't the one feeling discarded. I wasn't the one hoping to be seen. They felt the loss now. And I didn't need to lift a finger. I let the truth do the work. Loretta's birthday trip became a memory of missed flights, canceled tours, and the daughter who finally stopped asking for love that was never coming. And me, I booked my own trip. Solo. Spain in spring, with no one else's baggage but my own. I smiled when I clicked confirm, because this time the itinerary was mine. I didn't expect silence to feel so freeing. For the first time in years, there were no guilt trips, no backhanded compliments, no heavy sighs on the other end of the phone. Just quiet and peace. It was strange, really. I thought cutting ties, especially with my mom, would leave some kind of emotional crater. But it didn't. If anything, it felt like finally putting down a weight I didn't realize I'd been carrying since I was a child. I spent my first morning in Madrid sipping espresso on a sunlit balcony, watching people stroll through cobbled streets, laughing with friends, chasing dreams, living lives that had nothing to do with obligation. For once, I wasn't running errands for someone else. I wasn't the planner, the fixer, the afterthought trying to prove she belonged. I was just Savannah. And that was enough. Aunt Brenda emailed me a few days into my trip. Not to guilt me, thank God, but to say that my mom had stopped talking to Callum. Apparently, when confronted with the receipts and the truth, he didn't even try to deny it. Vivian, on the other hand, insisted she'd been protecting Loretta's energy, whatever that means. My mom didn't respond to my letter, not directly, but Aunt Brenda said she cried. A lot. She kept rereading it, and for the first time in decades, she asked if maybe, just maybe, she hadn't been the best mother. I didn't need to hear that, though. I wasn't waiting for an apology anymore. That version of me, the daughter who kept hoping, kept bending, kept bleeding for a scrap of validation, she stayed behind when I closed my laptop and canceled those plane tickets. I used to think loyalty meant staying, no matter what. I believed that if I just tried harder, loved louder, gave more, then one day my mom would see me. But I finally understand. Love that demands you erase yourself isn't love. It's control dressed up in the family photos. Walking away wasn't about revenge. It was about clarity. I needed to let go of a relationship that only existed when I was convenient or useful. I needed to choose myself. And choosing myself looked like this. It looked like walking into a small bookstore in Seville and buying a journal with a leather cover. It looked like dancing in a courtyard in Lisbon with strangers who didn't care who I used to be. It looked like sleeping in, laughing freely, and not checking my phone every time it buzzed. Choosing myself felt like breathing again. Sometimes people will try to make you feel guilty for stepping away from toxic relationships, especially when those people are family. They'll say things like, "But she's your mother," or "You only get one family." But here's the truth. Blood doesn't entitle anyone to hurt you repeatedly. Respect, love, kindness, those are earned, not owed. And no one gets a free pass just because you share DNA. I didn't burn bridges. I just stopped building ones that only I was walking across. If my mom ever wants to meet me halfway, she knows where to find me. But she'll have to walk the distance on her own this time. No more shortcuts, no more guilt, no more pretending. I'm not angry, I'm just done. And maybe that's the most powerful kind of closure, when you stop needing anything from the person who kept withholding it. So if you're reading this and wondering whether it's okay to walk away from people who don't value you, even if they're family, let me be the one to tell you, yes, it's okay. You don't owe your soul to people who only remember your name when they need something. You deserve peace. You deserve respect. You deserve to be loved in full, not in fractions. And the moment you stop begging for a seat at someone else's table, you start building your own. Have you ever felt erased by someone who was supposed to love you unconditionally? Share your story in the comments. Your voice matters. And don't forget to subscribe for more Reddit family stories filled with betrayal, resilience, and well-earned peace.